Riding a motorcycle is a wonderful experience. Some say one of the greatest joys in life. Your body becomes an extension of the machine. Your left hand on the clutch, your right on the accelerator, your left foot shifting through the gears. Riding a bike is pure joy. When I was 16 years old, I talked my dad into going to the motorcycle dealership with me. I wanted a bike. They had new, they had used, but I didn't want to put my dad in a jam, put him in debt asking for a new bike. The plan worked. I convinced them and I ended up leaving with a Kawasaki 450, man. Look, I know looking back, not much of a motorcycle, but man, I was a kid. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'd never even ridden a motorcycle. The first car that I had was a stick, so I understood the idea. And I can remember that salesman standing in the gravel parking lot saying, 1 down, 5 up, kid. That's the clutch, that's the brake. Have a great day. I drove that thing home, my dad in tow. And that day I learned to ride. I remember picking up the phone, calling my buddies JC and Sebastian. They were stoked. I didn't have a new bike. We had a new bike. I told them, man, I'll ride the bike to school tomorrow. My high school was about 40 minutes from my house, and truthfully, I was a little nervous. But in those days, I overcame fear with aggression. I squeezed them handlebars just a little bit tighter, and I just went a little bit faster, and I made it. After school, JC was about to get on the bus, and he told me, Roger, get on it, get on it. We were in the parking lot, so I was like, what the heck? I punched that baby, and I came towards it. Full throttle. I tried to turn like I did on a BMX, but it didn't work. I didn't know how to ride a bike. I had just started yesterday. I leaned, I turned, I hit the fence sideways. The bike fell onto my leg, sizzled my calf. The handlebars, the shifter, they were bent, but I was like, I could bend it back. My dad won't even know. In short, that bike got sold about a month later. I ended up getting a motorcycle endorsement in New York. No driving test, just a written exam. One summer in college, I came home and I bought a Kawasaki Ninja from a friend of mine. I threw on some shorts and a muscle shirt, and I went down to the service roads on the side of the LIE, the Long Island Expressway. I accelerated to about 130 miles an hour, and it started to rain. Those raindrops pricked like pins, needles into my body. Man, I gotta tell you, it was a thrill. I could shift fast, going in a straight line, right through the gears. I ended up selling that thing about a month later so I could go on vacation with some friends. A couple of years later, I bought another crotch rocket, a Honda CBR. I bought it from a frat brother. The guy was always buying things and selling them for a loss, so I ended up buying it. I learned how to lean into those turns. I drove that thing all over Birmingham. The first 2 days were spectacular. I mean, I was getting the hang of it. On the third night, I go back to the frat house and I park the bike right in front of the front door, less than 7 feet. I fall asleep on the couch with the front door wide open. When I woke up, I could see the sidewalk, but guess what? The bike, gone, stolen. Years later, when I was in law school in Miami, I got a call from the Birmingham police saying, hey, we found your bike. Not sure if you want it. We found it at the bottom of a lake. Well, needless to say, the insurance had already paid me. What am I going to do with an old rusty bike? So my uncle, he also drove a motorcycle. He was a Harley guy, good old Harley. He lost control and fractured 33 bones in his body. He was in a coma for a year. He suffered a traumatic brain injury. It changed his life. He now needs around-the-clock assistance. My buddy's son, the kid loved motorcycles. He was in college. He was taking the prerequisites for medical school. He was going to be a doctor. One day while riding, he took the overpass turn off of I-95 just a little bit too fast and he hit a pothole. He lost control. Kevin, he died that day. I went to his funeral. I sat with his parents. I talked to all his friends. He loved to ride, but God had another plan. Although I have a motorcycle license and I know how to ride, look, I know I'm not the best rider. I really enjoy the feel of a motorcycle. feeling the wind in my face. That whole experience, it brings me back to the day when I talked my dad into buying that Kawasaki 450. For me, there's always been that inner voice telling me, this isn't going to work out for you. Some of my friends say, oh, you're just a wimp. Oh, you're scared. I am. I respect the bike. I have friends that ride all the time. Personally, I love riding motorcycles, but I just don't do it anymore.